We are going to officially intro our 4th of July Instagram, Facebook Live. So to begin, I'm Melissa, one of the owners of the company. We are Happy with Dogs.
My name is Lauren. I'm the Director of Training here at Happy with Dogs.
And I'm Rebecca, one of the other owners of Happy with Dogs.
Yes, and one of the reasons we wanted to talk about 4th of July is because it tends to be such a happy time for the humans and such a fun, exciting time for us to celebrate, and such a terrible time for many of our dogs. And I know as owners, watching our babies suffer is painful. It makes us feel out of control if we don't know what to do. So today we wanted to kind of speak on the topic, share some strategies, get your questions, and set you up for success for this 4th of July.
Absolutely. So now let's open up some questions, some
Yes.
Q&As.
Yes.
We want to hear from you guys. We want to know, do you have any plans for the 4th of July? What do those plans look like? Again, we talked earlier, this is kind of a big 4th of July. You know, everybody's back, the world is reopening. And so we want to hear what's going on around Miami or even across the country or the world. These Facebook Lives go everywhere. And we'll start, we'll have Lucas shout out some of the people's plans if you guys want to write in. But let's start talking a little bit about parties that might be occurring.
Parties.
Those, again, we're reopening. The parties are happening again at people's homes. Maybe you're going to a party.
See some comments
Oh,
we got coming in.
awesome. Okay, we're going to pause and look at some comments. really
Yes,
quick.
hi. Okay, so Paula Wiles. Hi, Paula. And Paula, really happy to see you're here. Also, as we're talking about party plans, if you have specific questions, we have a list of things we're going to cover, so we might get there, but please put questions as well, because if you happen to ask us something that's not on our list, I definitely want to make sure we get to it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's see.
And then we have Miss Molly joining us here in the back. Good job. Molly, as you can see, she's moving a little bit slower than Tucker, right? So we have to look at our dog's energy levels and where they're comfortable at doing these new things. Tucker, who just kind of came in like a bat out of hell, he didn't even slow down to look at anything. Molly's going to slow down, she's going to look around, she's going to kind of take it all in. And you're going to see that too as we go on throughout this live, how different dogs react to different things. But let's get back on track with our parties. Oh, hello from Massachusetts.
Oh, who's here? Sarah, is she with Crazy My Dog? Beautiful question. I think I'm not going to answer it in this moment because we have a whole section about safe enclosures, crating, and all of that. So excellent question, and thank you. Okay, so let's start. Oh, you have a question? Go ahead, Lucas.
Yeah, question from Gail Scott. She's staying in Miami with a new puppy. The puppy hasn't experienced the 4th of July yet. How to prepare a new puppy, Togo,
Yes.
for the fire.
How old is Togo again?
6 months.
6 months. Okay, fantastic.
Yes. Okay, so Gail, you already have a really good foundation with him as far as behaviors go and his training process. And so what I would suggest is to make this very first 4th of July event super fun and positive for him. So that means pairing these potentially scary things like fireworks with all of his favorite things. Maybe that's, you bust out the really good stuff like chicken or hot dogs, cheese. Cheese is a great one. And make it super fun. Pair the scary with the fun, and that way he kind of gets it all as a well-rounded circle of good stuff is happening when the fireworks are occurring.
Yes, and if you're able to stay through today's live, we have a whole section at the end that we're going to talk about tons of different strategies for distraction, but also making it fun, and how to make him more comfortable. So that's kind of our last chunk of the Insta Live.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay, so for the parties, go ahead, Nellie.
Parties. Okay, so in general, we don't recommend having dogs outside during fireworks. Not only is the sound and the boom something that they feel, and that tends to make lots of dogs very scared, but the lights, the brightness of that sky changing, it's a big contrast all of a sudden that can be scary even without the noise. So having dogs outside puts them at risk of the louder noise without the security of the house and that bright light. So we always recommend having dogs in a safe space inside. We'll get into details about that in a moment. Some other things, be careful with grills, with lighters, with matches. People are setting off explosives. So when you have a dog outside, especially if there's drinking involved, if there's a distracting party involved, it's hard to stay on top of those details of is every single person at the party being smart with how they are lighting things. And is your dog a safe distance? I've definitely seen videos. This is Bailey. Hi, Bailey.
You got another one like Tucker.
Yes, I would say Bailey more like Tucker.
More like Tucker.
And so I've definitely seen videos that people are posting afterward of like, oh, here's my dog on the 4th of July. Look how much fun they're having with the fireworks. And I sit in my chair cringing because the dog is getting really close to explosives. And especially if they're off leash and you can't pull them away, they don't know what fireworks are. So be very, very careful.
I think of it like a baby, right?
Yes.
Like, would you let your 2-year-old wander up to something like a firework? They don't know what it is. Right, you're like, oh, fun. It's not fun. Not fun at all. Go ahead, Melanie.
And then just food. A lot of people, especially as we're drinking and we're having fun and there's dogs that are begging for food, a lot of people are unaware of what kinds of foods are going to be toxic to dogs and what kinds they can eat. So small examples, chocolate, sometimes avocados, onions, raisins, things that may be already on your plate. Whoa. Bailey agrees with me 100%. Really likes the chocolate and the raisins. Keep them away.
If you are going to have your dog out during a party, let's say maybe your dog, it's old hat, they've done these things before, we do have some suggestions to keep them safe if they choose to join in on the fun. One of those would be keeping your dog on leash in order to do things to keep them away from the fireworks so that they don't maybe counter surf, they get that food. Or also, you want to also watch for signs of stress in your dog. So even the most confident dog can have moments where they're not feeling so confident. So we want to look for those things to ensure that your dog is still enjoying their time at your party. So look at things like how the dog is carrying the tail. If we're looking at Bailey here, we're going to look at Bailey's tail, the base of his tail. So I don't really care so much that it's wagging, because that can be misleading. Look at the base. Do you see how high the base of his tail is? This is a great, confident dog. He's got loose and wiggly body language. He's having a great time with Rebecca. Now let's say that base of the tail starts to droop lower, maybe his tail posture changes, you start to see him kind of looking around a little bit more. These are all signs that it might be time for your dog to take a break. Maybe they're feeling overstimulated or over, their breaking point. Just like people do sometimes, it's good to take those rests.
And Lauren said something before the live when we were kind of brainstorming our best things to talk about, that as humans, a lot of times we tend to be like, oh, my dog wants to party, I'm going to keep my dog with me. And we think the dog is having fun because they're around a bunch of people, but it's easy to miss those subtle signs. Other things, excessive panting, any postural changes besides the tail. Just look at your dog. You probably know what your dog looks like when they're really happy. If they start looking like they're not really happy, if it's something in the middle zone and you're not sure, it might be better to put them up.
Hi, Milo.
This is Milo.
Milo's a Bermadoodle that just joined us for training. He'll be with us for a little bit. Super cute. Oh my goodness. This is going to be his first time up on the climbs and stuff too. So we're going to watch how Rebecca kind of works him through these things. Oh my goodness. I think you had a question actually, Lucas.
Yeah, you have a question. Let me see. It's about a comment that you made about the dog's tail. What if your dog doesn't have a tail, like a mini Aussie? That's from
really,
Tori.
Really good question.
Good question, Tori.
Very good question. So, I know some dogs don't have like any tail back there, but if your mini Aussie even has like a little nubbin, you can watch the nubbin.
Yeah.
Or rely on other parts of their body to tell you these signs. The ear placement, the placement of like their eyes, thank you. How they're holding their mouth. Is their mouth closed and tight? Then that is all signs of stress. If my mouth is open and relaxed, same thing, I'm relaxed and calm. So start to look for those more overall pictures.
Yes, and then I'll add one to the mouth. There's like the happy medium of your dog's mouth being relaxed and panting. There's the closed tight, and then there's also what I would call kind of like a fear grimace, where they're pulling their commissures back. And so it almost looks like they're trying to smile. If it's excessive to compared to what you normally see, I would say that's also a sign of stress. Probably a good time to put your dog back.
A very good question, thank you.
Yes. Okay, so those were things if you're gonna have your dog outside. Our recommendation would typically be to leave the dog at home, whether you're home or you're going out. So what we're gonna cover now is some ways to do that safely. Oh, Lauren, will you cover your bullet? I love this one about leaving the TV.
Oh yes, okay, so if you're going out and your dog is staying at home, a really good way to start these things is going to be leave something on for your dog that's going to be distracting from the firework noises. So that can be something like a television, a radio. I wouldn't suggest leaving on a news channel that's covering a firework show, but maybe something a little bit more relaxing and calm for them. Also something to combat that sound of the big booms and bangs that they can focus on more.
Absolutely, and also if you happen to have a camera set up, it's a really good time to watch dogs on the camera. Part of the reason we're talking about this is a lot of dogs run on the 4th of July compared to any other holiday. Most of the dogs that run away from home happen on the 4th of July. So we want to make sure that wherever they are, it's safe and it's secure. So either a crate, a room that is kind of doggy-proof. Because we have Rosie.
Hi, Rosie. Oh, we peed a little bit. That's okay.
Oh.
We peed a little bit. It's all right. It happens. Puppies happen. Happy
We
peepees
call it
happen.
happy pee-pee.
Happy peepees. It's really flattering, actually. She was super excited
So
to see
happy to see
So
you.
happy.
We have other videos about potty training if this
Yes.
has inspired you, because you're like, my dog does that.
Okay, the crate safe space. I know we
Yes.
talked a little bit about a crate back
Yes.
here a little bit. We're going to go into it a little bit more. But what Melly was touching on is ensuring that your dog, if you leave them at home, is in a secure environment.
Yes,
That
yes.
the windows are secure, doors
Yes.
are locked and shut. Because if the dog were to enter into a moment of panic, sometimes even things like a closed window won't stop them.
Yes. We have definitely seen, and we're trainers, so we see extreme cases when things go really far south. People will call us, but we have definitely seen dogs that don't have history of doing something like clawing at a door till they can open and unlock it, do those kinds of things, or clawing at a window and pushing into the window so they can get out. So you want to make sure that wherever your dog is, they don't have access to areas that they can open, not based on their past history, but based on what could they do in their biggest panic moment that you think might be slightly impossible. We have seen dogs do it.
I want to just revisit this question. It was it's from Tori McClure, which I think we also talked about with Aussie. Yes, we did. About crating the dog during fireworks. You asked specifically, is there an issue with crating your dog? I would say there is no issue as long as your dog has been in a crate before.
Yeah.
If your dog is accustomed to a crate and they're comfortable and they're chill in their crate, it's their little home environment, awesome. This is not a good time to put your dog in a crate for the very first time and then allow a stressful situation like the 4th of July to occur. So start this training early, or be there to support your dog through these moments.
Yes. And we know that not everyone is going to skip the party and stay home with their dog. So I have no false illusions. But if you are able to stay home with your dog, it is a nice time to be present, especially if it's like their first 4th of July, to help them have that really good experience.
Something else too with the fencing in the yard. So even if, let's say you're not leaving your dog, but you're gonna send your dog out to the backyard to go potty, you have a fenced in backyard. It's best to still supervise on the 4th of July, even if your dog is just going outside for a quick potty. Because again, if they were to get spooked by a big bang and go to flight and run, we want to make sure that everybody is taken care of. So all eyes on your dog and just make sure everyone stays safe.
And you just touched on an important word, flight. So when dogs encounter something scary, there's a few different things that they might do, but the two that are most relevant for 4th of July, I believe, are flight and freezing. So you may have a dog that goes into a pure kind of panic that turns into a small shaky ball. I have seen many dogs that do this, and they are kind of looking for a spot to hole up and wait for the scary thing to go away. If you see that, that is totally normal. You don't need to try to stop the shaking or to allow them to find a calm, quiet space. We had one dog that used to stay with us bundles. We would build a little fort for him, so he had a place to escape and be into, and it was almost like smaller than his body. It was his favorite place to go when the storms were scary or when fireworks were scary. By the way, everything we're talking about today for fireworks totally applies to thunder, scary storms, anything that is going on. Even sometimes like really loud construction right next to your house that you weren't expecting. All of these strategies could be used for those as well.
And a little tangent here, these allowing them places to hide and feel safe, it's great for your cats too. Because it's not just dogs who are fearful during these moments.
Yes.
Pay attention to your outdoor cats. I know we're happy with dogs, but I always have to plug the cats in. Give them also the same security that you would for your dog.
Yes, and if you have any other cat comments, please
Yeah.
throw them out. Because a lot of our dog lovers are also cat lovers.
Absolutely, yeah. They need to be supported just like the dogs need to be supported in these moments where they're not sure what's happening in the world.
Okay, so we're getting ready to move to our next section where we're going to talk about tons of strategies to help make your dog more comfortable, help make this event more fun, and how to prepare for the worst, but meaning your dog being really uncomfortable. Before we go there, I want to know, does anyone have a dog plan already? Something in mind that you're like, ooh, I want to try this with my dog for the 4th of July. Any strategies you have in mind that you're thinking of to help make your dog more comfortable? You got something, Lucas?
Yeah, Gil Scott just asked a question again about what about watching fireworks on TV loud and then treating him during those?
Beautiful, beautiful segue. Yes.
Absolutely.
Anything you can do ahead of time to normalize this will really help. And 4th of July, now we're already on what, the 1st?
Yes, the
So
first.
You can still make progress in these next 3 days, totally worth it. We actually have some training plans that will help with dogs with noise sensitivity, sound sensitivity, to help them become more confident in those environments overall. But if you find in the next 3 days you're not able to get a lot of comfort, we also have management strategies. So you can hit it from both sides.
Yeah, and I also say don't rush the training process.
Yeah.
Take it nice and slow, just like you would if it was January 1st.
Yes.
And don't overwhelm the dog with too much stimulation too soon, going, I just have to get him ready for 3 days from now.
Because you might not be able to get him ready for 3 days from now. But
But you can
anything you do is still going to help him a little bit. It's just preparing a dog for the 4th of July. There's almost like nothing we can do to fully prepare a dog for the 4th of July besides New Year's. New Year's is another one. Oh, so we got a new dog, even though it looks similar to our
Looks
last
very
dog.
much the same.
This is Tiki. And Tiki has like a little white strip on his nose that is different. Oh.
Alright.
This is a good example. So Tiki's a little nervous about everything going on here. So we're giving him some space. We're giving him an opportunity to kind of use his nose and explore more on his own terms instead of forcing him up on top of the thing. So Gail, this goes back to your question a little bit too when Laura was saying, take it slow. We always want to make sure the dog's enjoying it. So whatever we have to do to go at a pace where they're enjoying it and building positive associations, that's what you want to do. Okay, so I think, were there any others?
There was a comment from Tori again, saying that she's heard of things called popcorn parties, where when fireworks go off, they throw popcorn on the floor.
Also, thank you. Also on our list to talk about, so you get an A+.
Yes.
A++ for bringing, both of you get A++ for bringing up things that were on our list.
Absolutely. Yeah, you also hear that referred to in the dog world as a scatter. And so putting their noses to the ground, throwing all those yummy treats on the floor, and getting the dogs interacting in that way instead of interacting with the world around us.
I'm gonna grab, okay, so are there any others before I move on? I'm gonna grab a Kong so we can show you what a Kong is.
Okay, so this is, we're gonna enter more into like the management strategies. Okay, so we'll say, it's the first, it's very possible that your neighbors are gonna start setting off fireworks today if they didn't start 3 days ago. So, we're behind the 8 ball, let's say, and we're gonna go into more of the ways that we're going to work with our dogs to get them through these scary times.
Yes, so to begin, this is one of many things you could use. What I love about Kongs is you can stuff them with goodies for your dog that take time and energy to lick out. Now, all dogs are different. One of the things I love the most about Kongs, and Lauren and I will go back and forth with some of our favorites, is depending on your dog, you can stuff it with different things. So if you've never done this before and you're like, oh, I'll just stuff it and it'll be great, you want to start with something that's pretty easy to get out of here. Like I might even just throw some treats in here so my dog bumps it once and the treats fall out. If you have an experienced dog with Kongs, you can build this in such a way that it's going to really distract them and take a lot of time. Things like maybe you put hot dog chunks in the bottom so that they can smell here and it blocks that hole. Then you put a layer of something else. Then on top you put a layer of peanut butter or something mushy, and you could even, Lauren has some frozen ones, right, that you use that the dog slowly but surely
Frozen
learns.
Kongs are great.
What else do you like to stuff Kongs with?
Oh gosh, they actually, and Kong makes actual
Yes.
stuff to stick in there,
Yeah.
which is really convenient. I would play around with the idea of putting stoppers in the top, like break up
Yes.
big milk bones and shove them in there. And then Kongs are great because they come in lots of different forms. It's not just this traditional Kong look. There's even more intricate ones, and if your dogs go through Kongs very, very quickly, they're like, this is nothing. Look more into the advanced ones, and if you have a powder chewer, this is my favorite,
Yes.
they make a black Kong. And so like
Big
this
power.
can go through, a normal dog can chew through that.
Yeah. This is their like puppy version, the
Right.
light blue one.
So look into that too, get your power chewer, because half the time, after the dog is done with the treats of the Kong, then it's still really interesting and they're gonna start to chew and
Yes.
gnaw and work through all that energy with that chewing and gnawing behavior.
Absolutely, and I would, because we have 3 days, if you're gonna use something like this, I'd start introducing your dog to it now, so that they start to get the game if it's the first time they've ever used it, where they're like, oh, this comes out, I lick it, I chew it, and that's what I do with the Kong. Also, when she was talking about the different sizes, this model in and of itself comes up to like huge, this big.
Ginormous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before I forget,
Oh, yeah.
if you're on a budget and you're like, I don't want to buy a Kong, I don't want to buy this, there are so many DIY versions of treat puzzles, food puzzles for dogs. If you even just do a Google search of like DIY food puzzle, you can do things with old containers, you can poke holes. You just want to make sure whatever you make doesn't have any sharp edges sticking out. and whatever you put inside your container, if you have holes, that the stuff actually comes out of the holes.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like, full creativity.
And ensure you're using products that are safe for your dog.
Yes,
Like
yes,
safe
yes.
peanut butter that's meant
Yes.
for dogs and things like that. Look into those things before you just start to put things in.
Yes, and xylitol is one of the
Yes.
things that's very toxic to dogs, so make sure with your peanut butter it is xylitol free. We got a
Is that
question.
a snuffle mat? She asked about a snuffle.
Snuffle mats are awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Snuffle mats are wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
There's a thing called a Babolat, which is one of our
Oh, I'm gonna
favorites.
get it. I'm gonna get it. I know where it is.
Um,
Bye, Lauren.
Bye. The Babolat. Okay, so this is something that's going to keep your dog busy for a very long time. It's more like an advanced food puzzle, and it actually has a little door on the bottom that can go really wide open or nice and closed. So if you see this, you'll put the food in the top of the container, and then you close it up. Can they see the floor? You put it up.
Okay, and then, well, I don't know if you can see the floor. Can you see it here, Lucas?
This one, not that one.
This one right here?
This one.
Oh, on one of our videos. Okay, well, essentially,
there you
as
go.
the dog hits it around, it rolls and then the food comes out, but they can knock it with their nose, they can grab it with their mouth, they can, my dog kind of plays soccer, he hits it with his paws, and so it's a nice brain game, in addition to being a brain game and a physical game, and it makes the meal take a lot longer.
Really quick, can we pause to look at Felix and his festive outfit? This is Felix and his tie. Hi, Fifi. How are you?
Says I'm
He's
good.
like, I am ready to go.
I'm good.
I am here.
I'm here with you guys.
Oh, Felix. Okay, so more things to manage or distract our
Oh,
dogs.
you know what we didn't talk about is the strategies pre-fireworks to
yes.
help them be comfortable. So before we even get to the distraction, let's go back one step. Exercise your dog before the fireworks start. Do a big, fun, rowdy, whatever your dog loves. Hopefully it's not raining, you can go outside and run them or play their favorite game, and do it till they're tired. Watch out for heat stroke. Don't go crazy and overwork your dog, but the furthest you can get them without being at risk of them overheating, do that. Help them be tired. If you're stuck inside, I have a few videos online that go over games you can play inside the house to burn energy, but definitely do that. And then anything to
Make sure you're trying to burn the physical and the mental energy.
Yes.
Because if your dog is tired, their body's tired, but their brain's still working and it's able to concentrate on the fireworks, we haven't done much. So get both those things together. The videos that Melissa has made will really help you pair those two things
Yes,
together.
yes, yes. And if you need any advice about that after watching the videos, or you want to find those videos, just send us a message.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can go to the next
All
one.
right. So again, this is during fireworks, or even this is a great activity for before fireworks,
Yes.
really. Playing tug with your dog, or maybe even their favorite game. Tug is a great one. I actually saw this online. The idea of doing tug as the fireworks happen.
Yes.
So the firework incites the tug game. You hear the firework, boom, 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 and then
Yes.
that's when the game starts. So that's your window of
Yes.
the game readiness.
And I think about Togo for this one, or any dogs that don't already have an association of what a firework is or that it's scary. Anytime, I'm not gonna get too nerdy here, but like Pavlov with the dogs, there was a bell and then food. Bell, food. Eventually the dogs heard the bell and they were like, oh, food is coming, and they'd salivate before they saw the food. Anytime we can take something that's unfamiliar, big boom, and pair it with something awesome, we have a lot of power to turn that scary thing into something really fun. So it would go, boom, tug game starts every single time during 4th of July. And you may find that then you wind up with a dog that just doesn't have an issue with fireworks.
Yeah, which is everyone's goal.
Which
Which
is
is what we want.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
think we have a question.
This question from Renee asking how does she get her dog to go back out after having a traumatic firework experience? How does she get her dog reacquainted?
Okay, I'm guessing that means to go back out into the yard
You
because
won't
they're
go
terrified
outside.
and they're pancaked. Okay, yeah, you got any tips?
Yes, okay, so we're gonna go back into that slow process of making the fireworks into a good thing. And so what we wanna do, again, this is gonna take time, a lot of time, and some dedication from us as people. But what I would suggest doing, you can find sounds of fireworks online,
Yeah.
turn it really low, really low. And then those little tiny noises that they hear, treat,
Yeah.
all the treats. And then you're gonna slowly start to build that volume up. And again, treat. And then we are, July 1st.
Yeah.
So we're getting there, and 4th of July is
Yeah.
coming fast. So for you, I would say now we're gonna go more into those management strategies
Yeah.
for this July 4th. And then you have a whole other, well, I guess 6
Yeah.
months until
Until New Year's comes
until
and
New
we
Year's
get it
comes
again.
to to start to prepare him for the next round.
Yes.
And so I would say look into these things like the comms,
Yes.
exercise during the day, lots of exercise during the day, and keeping your dog safe. Charlie.
It's like kind of like almost a mascot for us. We love Charlie. We have had Charlie since he was a puppy. Let's see if he'll do a camera cameo for us. This is Charlie. He is a food monster. Loves food.
And then, sorry, back to Renee's comment. I just want to empower you to take this year to really, try your best with these strategies that we're offering you. Maybe keep your dog on a leash with you in the home, and or if you have a crate, utilize your crate.
Yes.
And we're going to manage this 4th of July, and then we're going to start that training, and he'll
Yes.
be perfect for the next one.
And I'll just add on, for the actual next day, let's say your dog won't even go outside. They had this big space and they're just stuck in the crate and they're like, I'm never leaving again. This is the only safe space that I have. We're gonna do a combination of moving to their comfort level and then little by little pushing them in small doses outside their comfort level. So as an example, I wouldn't let your dog cower and stay inside the crate. I'd actually put a leash on and pull them out of the crate, but then I would not force them to go outside right away. Get them comfortable in the house, get them sniffing around the house, get them eating around the house. If they're not eating, if they're not drinking, they're still highly stressed. And unfortunately, we can't rush a dog back to feeling safe and comfortable. So you're gonna do a little bit of a combination of kind of nudging when you have to, like maybe the dog hasn't peed in a full day and needs to go outside. So then they have to go outside, you're gonna help them with the leash, stand with them, but this is gonna be slow and steady, same kind of things.
And during those big fireworks, you're going to go back into that idea of flight and freeze. Your dog, a huge, big, nighttime fireworks. Hello, Charlie. Has frozen. Let him chill. Relax, let him chill. So what Melissa is talking about is the next day.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. The next day is when we start to bring them out of their shell again. But the night of the big booms, very good, Charlie. The night of the big booms, we're going to just manage the situation and keep them as calm as possible.
Yes. Okay, so unless we have another question, I want to start talking about some of the things that we can do to make our dogs comfortable. So assuming you have a dog that is not being distracted, a dog that does not want to play, will not eat, is just terrified. These are things that you can do to help make them more comfortable in that state. The first one that's really important to me to talk about is energy. One of my favorite things that I learned from having a dog was how to control and be aware of my own energy. When your dog starts to suffer, we'll do a quick pause to say hello to Mango. So this is Mango. Okay, so when your dog starts to suffer for any reason, as humans, our hearts start to go out to them, start to bleed for them. And what happens before we know it is the dog is suffering and we are suffering. And nobody can help anyone. We have two beings that are both in a sad, anxiety, stressed state. So when your dog starts to show signs that they're panicking, suffering, really uncomfortable, will not eat, will not drink, the best thing you can do for them is to remain in a place of calm confidence. Because the same way they're gonna suck you into that sad panic, you can help pull them with having an energy that says, hey, this is okay. Know that your dog may have a hard time, and that's okay. It doesn't have to bring you to that space. You will be more helpful for them, and they're gonna look to you for leadership in these moments. So just know that it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong, and going into a guilty, sad spiral will make it worse for everybody. Okay, so I don't know, Lauren, if you wanna start with some of the things on the comfort list.
Really quick, that translates to all of dog training.
Yes, it
Really
does.
nice summary
Yes, it
of
does.
dog training in general.
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
animal training in general. All right, so we're going to go more into the idea of comfort, which is great too, because this is also going to go back into what we were talking about with Renee and her dog. And so we have lots of different options. We kind of touched on this already, but you can put on music
Yes.
to hopefully kind of counteract those.
Can I touch on that?
Yeah.
Lauren was talking about counteracting the boom, but a lot of the times the reason that the fireworks are so stressful is because we have a given state. Anytime there's something that's really different in the environment, especially for herding dogs, all dogs, but especially for herding dogs, anything that stands out big from the environment is going to be a little startling and shocking and scary. So when you have this decibel level and then this decibel level, it is very scary. So when she was saying no buffer, if we raise the decibel levels in the entire house, we're decreasing that difference, and that makes a big difference for the dogs. Okay, go on.
Absolutely. We can also talk to you about if your dog feels comfortable in a crate, covering the crate.
Yes.
Have that music going. You can look into different kinds White noise is a great
White
one
noise.
too. I wouldn't suggest like death metal, but if that's what your dog is used to hearing, then
Yeah.
like, you know, to each
Well,
his own.
I'll share, every dog is different, and
Every
what I
dog is
found
different.
with my own personal dog, because typically to relax him I would play like classical music or doggy relaxing music, but I have found, for me on 4th of July, not death metal, but something, like I'll listen to musicals, something that's loud and has random moments of higher
A little more
sound,
dynamic.
a little more dynamic,
Yeah.
because then it's kind of normal that we're gonna have these changes in decibels
Yeah.
versus something calm. Now the white noise I have seen work not for my dog but for other dogs really well, and even though that's just a constant louder noise. So you can use this one to play,
Yeah.
play and try a couple different things.
You can also look into shirts, the
yes.
thunder shirts, the compression shirts. It's almost like that warm hug type situation. Again, these are things to try with your dog, hopefully before
Yep.
the fireworks start. Not every dog will respond to these techniques, but some of them will, and then maybe your dog does. Earmuffs.
If you're gonna do either the thunder shirt or the earmuffs, I actually had earmuffs. They sell muffs for dogs that are going to be doing things like gun dogs who are going out after a big blast to go do something with an animal, dogs who are riding in helicopters, anything with very high decibels. But I got some, and I know Rebecca used them for Sarati as well. And they do the same thing, they just kind of cover. But to Lauren's point, the shirts or the muffs, if you get them, I would start today and make them real fun. When the dog is wearing this, they get all kinds of fun stuff so that they have a positive association with that item. And then when you put it on for the 4th of July, it's not the very first time
Yep.
that they're experiencing it.
They also make the hoodie that looks
Oh,
kind of like
yes. Yes.
the gator buffs that
Okay,
people
what
wear
is it called?
nowadays.
I know what you're talking about.
But I don't know the brand. We could.
If you have it, let us know. If you want to know the specifics, we will get back to you.
Yeah, it is a weird thing for the dog to wear, so like Melissa said,
Yeah.
start to get them accustomed to wearing it, so we're not adding a new stressor of wearing clothes onto fireworks.
Slow massage. So definitely if your dog finds comfort from physical touch, you are welcome to do that. Here, just make sure, again, watch your energy. If you're, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Dogs feel that, and you're putting that into their body with your hands. So if you are going to do a nice slow massage, make sure you're coming from that calm, confident place, that you're not adding any accidental stress in your pets, and that you're not adding more energy. We want everything to chill. That's
Yeah.
what I do.
In addition to companionship and slow massage and stuff, on the exact opposite side of the spectrum, if your dog wants it, leave them alone.
Yes.
Let them deal. It's the same thing as people. Some
Yes.
people like to be
Yeah.
coddled and held when they're going through stressful times. Me, if you touch me, I'm not going to be happy about
Yes.
it. So, Melissa knows.
Yeah, we had to figure this out. We are opposites.
Yeah, it's opposites. Daddy wants
Yeah.
the companionship, and I want to be left alone. It's the same thing with our
Yeah.
dogs. And know your dog, know what they're going to require. I
Yeah.
have 2 dogs in my home. One wants to be left alone, the other is on the couch with me.
Yes.
And we don't push either one.
And a strategy. If you are not sure, if you're like, I don't know if my dog wants to, pet your dog without restraining them at all, no hugs, just like a calm pet, and then stop and give it 2 to 5 seconds and observe what your dog does. If they scoot into you, if they look at you, if they're like, more please, it's probably a good sign that they are enjoying that. If they move away from you, or if they turn their head away from you, or if they scooch a little bit, or if as you're petting they freeze, it's probably a sign that they don't want you to do it. And then I would just hang out with them and be in their presence without the physical contact.
No forced petting.
Yeah.
This is Leia. Leia is a 5-month-old Great Dane puppy. So again, somebody that's going to be experiencing the 4th of July for the very first time.
Yeah.
Also experiencing this room for the very first time. So she is gonna hang out with the client, see what happens.
Okay, so our last kind of big bucket of things to talk about is not only medication, some more natural, some from the vet. If your dog has a really hard time and you know that, there are some things you can try that are like over the counter to make them more comfortable. For example, melatonin, CBD, pheromones that are designed to smell like your dog's mom's pheromones. But it's important that you work with your vet to figure out which of these solutions might work for your dog and in what quantities. There are also other medications, off the top of my head I can't remember what they are, but your vet would be the one to administer them. Do you have any comments about that?
I would say also to be mindful that some of these medications, pheromones, CBD, all that stuff, have a loading time. So it's not like it's not like an Advil that you take and then 30 minutes later your headache's gone. But again, you're not veterinarians.
Yeah.
These are all suggestions to look into of things that could assist your dog if you have one of those
working. And I'll share one personal story. I did go after my first year with my dog watching him suffer. I tried the medication route the second year, and I did not test the medication before. And it actually shot his heart rate up higher, and he got more stressed. So sometimes, just like humans, animals have different reactions to things. So work with your vet for not only what to use, but should you try it before the actual event to see how your dog's going to react to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Is
think
that all
we
the
did
dogs? Oh my gosh, perfect timing.
All right, do we have any other questions?
Any final questions or thoughts?
Kendall says awesome information. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you,
us,
Kendall.
Kendall. Any other questions that we have?
We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. If we finish this live and you're like, oh, I had a burning question and I forgot, you can always send it to us. We wish you a very happy and safe 4th of July. Anything else?
Enjoy your holiday, guys. Stay safe out there.
Bye, guys.